But these debates are an opportunity for the average American who maybe might not be, in the weeds of politics or these candidates as much to get a taste of who these people are. And one of the things that when someone's going to vote, it's, could I have a beer with this person? Are they my type of person? Did anyone come off as likable last night?
That is such a smart question, and you're so right on for this reason. These candidates come into these debates. I've been there a lot. So you go into all these meetings, you have all the policy books out, you go back and forth. What are you going to say if she says this or he says that and whatever else to try to prepare yourself for battle? And in the middle of all that cramming, it's like cramming for a final exam, you miss the most obvious. People vote for people. Make sure you communicate yourself, not just your ideas and your smarts, yourself. I think that was really missing. As I said, Tim Scott, great, up from the bootstraps, ultimate American success story. You hear like almost none of that. You saw the governor of Florida try in one of the questions later into the debate, talk about his military background and his experience seeing the memorial site at 9/11. That had some impact. I felt something for the first time, I think, from that governor in a debate, in the other debate. I think that was missing. I think you got a little bit of that Nikki Haley in debate one, didn't get that last night. So to your point, if they cannot get beyond their minds and understand what I believe, which is we use our hearts to justify what we're feeling, and then we vote, we say with our minds, but it starts right here. And if you don't feel something, it's hard to intellectually rationalize when you get excited about something. I think that was missing.
Let's talk about the Republican infighting a little bit. You mentioned Vivek Ramaswamy. He felt like almost the kid brother on stage that everyone just wants to, attack and swat down. I mean, they could all come together and immediately turn. They were like, Vivek, enough. Nikki Haley said something to the effect of, every time I hear you, I feel a bit dumber. That was a strategy that across the board, everyone, aside from, I believe, Doug Burgum, swatted Vivek Ramaswamy down. There were also more pointed attacks at Donald Trump. In his first remarks, Governor Ron DeSantis said Donald Trump's missing in action. Chris Christie had that one kind of awkward line about calling him Donald Duck instead of Donald Trump for missing the debates. Do you think that Republican infighting is a smart strategy, or they should have focused their efforts a bit more on attacking President Joe Biden and his policies?
Well, I'll take the second part of your question first. I think it's a bad strategy. Given the numbers, given the relative positioning in this field, given the weakness of President Joe Biden. You talk about almost historic lows in terms of presidential approval, job performance, lousy marks on the economy, on law and order, on immigration, lousy marks, right? You would think that's easy. He's an easy target. You use the duck metaphor, a sitting duck, right? And yet there wasn't enough of that at the expense of them trying to one-up each other. And when they took on the president who wasn't there, which I think, regardless of what your feelings are about Donald Trump, to go after someone that's not there to defend themselves generally rubs Americans the wrong way. It doesn't feel fair. Not that, the former president would complain about this. I didn't think they scored at all. You saw the Donald Duck thing go completely south in terms of reaction in the studio. I think it's fair to say probably in the American audience too. I think the governor of Florida tried to take him on in terms of something substantive. That's fair, because he was talking about the national debt and how under Donald Trump, I think the national debt went up $7 trillion. It's up $5.5 trillion under Biden. That's fair. That was okay, but you're not going to take the president down to try to elevate you up. I think that would have been my advice to everybody on stage. Don't go there. You're not going to suddenly get a wind under your sails because you're going after someone who's up 30 points in the polls. That's not going to happen. Show what you've got, almost like Donald Trump doesn't exist, that if for some reason he wasn't in play, that the country could turn to you and say, yeah, I could be very comfortable there.